markings on Britain's roads and motorways.
He's now wrong side of the road.
Truck drivers who risk their lives to protect their loads.
In your mirror, you'll see a car flashing you. It's basically pirates on the road.
Caravanners who are being ripped off by fraudsters.
I'm just gutted. Looks like I've lost my caravan.
And have their home from home stolen.
I realised, hang on, that's getting nicked.
While thieves go after the big stuff.
Start up, drive off.
And two-wheeled terrorists rob jewellers and shopkeepers. As the cops try to protect Britain's soft targets. In the West Midlands, BC Angus Nair, a motorway cop, is after a car thief.
There's a stolen car at Worcester, and there's one of the West Mercia's unmarked vehicles that was behind it and now lost it.
It's a blue Vauxhall Corsa, and in it is a young man who stole the keys from a woman's handbag in Derby, 50 miles away.
The opportunist, if he's a drug dealer or if he's a drug addict or if he's disqualified, they tend not to stop. They think they're better drivers, and because they drive fast, they think they're going to get away every single time.
But tonight, it doesn't matter how good or bad the driving is. BC Nairn is too far away from the stolen Corsa. This chase is over before it's even begun. BC Nairn is no ordinary motorway cop. He's a former truck driver who prefers working with lorries than cars.
The first 6 months of this year, there's been over 1,600 crimes involving trucks. That's theft from truck and theft of truck.
BC Nairn spends most nights when he's on duty checking the trucks and drivers who use the motorway services to make sure they are safe from the criminals who routinely target them.
We know that lots of vehicles are stolen. We know that loads are stolen from vehicles. So we know that we are talking about millions and millions of pounds worth of crime, but actually getting a clear figure is very, very difficult.
The truckers will have to wait a while.
He might well have turned in here.
There's a car in front of the service station store, its engine still running. BC Nairn saw the driver and another man leave it and go into a supermarket.
And as we drive up towards this vehicle here, the driver gets out of the car, leaves it and walks straight over to the store as he sees me coming in. Yeah, that blue Corsa from earlier on that people were looking for. It's no Delta Victor 58, is it?
Confirmed stolen, can I leave it?
Yeah, some assistance please. Tesco's Warndon. The offender's inside.
Because the offender has a mate with him, BC Nairn needs backup. He doesn't like being outnumbered. A soft target.
Yes, please, the car's sitting outside. Wait a minute, gents. You're both under arrest on suspicion of theft of a motor vehicle. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence. You do not mention when questioned something which you later line in court.
On foot.
I can see you're on foot.
So what do you mean, car? Just bought shopping. Lager.
You anything in your pockets that you shouldn't have?
No.
Suspects don't usually hand over illegal knives like this.
I've just seen you.
This young man's handed this in.
Both men seem disorientated.
Yeah. I don't know what for, mate. Just got into my railway hood, so I don't know what for, like...
BC Nairn has not only got them red-handed when they thought they'd got away, he's also recovered a stolen car intact.
Back in one piece, no damage. Just never know what's going to turn up. If we hadn't gone to the store at that time, then they would probably have driven away, never to be seen again. But yeah, unfortunately for them, I happened to go into the store as they were there, and it was good timing because there was no pursuit then. We get the car back in one piece, nobody gets injured, 2 prisoners in custody, it's a good ending all round.
But the end of BC Nairn's night is a long way off. And with his 2 prisoners on their way to jail, he can get back to what he loves most: trucks and truckers.
Over the last night or two, there have been some more attempt thefts of goods from trailers. So our intention tonight is to do a bit of high visibility patrols in the service areas, just to provide some reassurance to the drivers, the truck drivers themselves. The increase in truck crime could be related to the fact that they've realised now that truck crime's a soft target, and they will just take anything. They'll take soap powder, they'll take soft drinks, whatever they can get their hands on, they'll take it because they can always sell it, and that's all they're after.
Lorry drivers aren't always the victims. Sometimes they break the law too.
He came past us quite quickly, and then he was braking as he was alongside us, which is usually an indication that he's going quicker than he should. So, have a quick check his tachograph, show what his speed limiter's been set at.
Most trucks are limited to 60 miles an hour on motorways.
All right, young man.
Not so bad. Not so bad.
Oh, quick check your tach, please.
The tachograph is a legal requirement. The spy in the cab, it never lies. It records the speeds a vehicle travels at and when rest stops are taken, providing it's working properly.
The thing I'm suspicious about is the fact that that hour there is no motorway driving, whereas you've just come straight out onto a motorway. So where does it show me on there that you've been and delivered, come back out? The trailer didn't unload itself and it didn't load itself. You've done something, and that's supposed to be on here. Now, if you can't do that in 15 hours, then you should be packed up and sleeping.
I started about 22 after 8.
Right.
PC Nairn already knows what's wrong, but he wants the driver to tell him.
We're not getting anywhere, are we?
No.
Could it be there's a problem with the tachograph?
The driver is only just realising that he's dealing with someone who once made a living driving trucks.
A lot of police officers look at trucks and think they're too big and they're too complicated as far as the legislation is concerned because of the fact I've got previous experience in trucks. So I'm not scared to stop a truck and get up inside it and speak to the driver at any time. Between you, me and the gatepost, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to get you to be honest.
Right.
And I know there's something not right. Before I say anything else to you, right, I'm going to caution you the fact that you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention when questioned something which you later line in court, and anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand the caution? Right. And I'll ask you again then, is there any paperwork in here relate to the loads that you've just delivered? Last chance. Hand it over then, please. Right. Would I be right in saying that those tachographs are not a true and accurate record of your driving day? You're now under arrest for producing a false instrument with intent to deceive. You don't have to say anything at this point, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention when questioned something which you later line in court. I gave you the caution the last time because I expected you to be honest.
For the lorry driver, it's the end of the road, in the back of a police car. For PC Nairn, it's a chance to take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I used to have one like this. You never lose your touch. It's like riding a bike.
PC Nairn understands more than anyone why some drivers work longer than their permitted hours.
A lot of drivers do that because they're paid bonuses, you know, to actually deliver more loads than they can legally. I mean, if he's driving up the M69, he happens to fall asleep because he's tired. We all know the consequences when trucks run into the back of stationary traffic or even just run off the road. Anybody could be injured or killed. Thanks, lad.
It's almost dawn. PC Nairn's shift isn't over yet. 3 arrests in one night isn't a record, but it comes close. Nairn isn't the only cop looking after soft targets. 200 miles from the M5, the Durham Constabulary are after criminals who prey on innocent people who enjoy caravanning. There are almost 500,000 touring caravans in the UK, and most are easy pickings for thieves who make a living stealing them and selling them on to unsuspecting buyers.
Yeah, and it's an Armitage twin axle
Dave Smith is an insurance detective who specialises in identifying stolen caravans. He's been at it for 15 years and business is booming.
It's very easy money, very quick money, very little problem to steal them. They can sometimes break into a storage site, take 4, 5, 6 caravans and be gone within an hour.
Finding the stolen caravans is the problem, and today Mr. Smith and a police team are working one of Durham's most popular steam fairs, which caravanners come to camp out at. The police team aren't after caravan thieves, but innocent people who might have bought or are trying to sell a stolen caravan without knowing.
Checks on the caravans and everything, just having a general look round. We'll be backwards and forwards today. Quite often at steam fairs, the people have a sign in the window, caravan for sale. So obviously we're quite keen to look at those to make sure what they're selling is legitimate.
Every caravan has its own unique identity, just like a car. A set of vehicle identification numbers, the VIN.
All right, this is a 17-digit VIN number. It basically gives us various information, who the manufacturer is, its year of manufacture, and that just is its unique identification.
Because caravans use the license plate of the vehicle which tows it, the only way of telling a legit one from a stolen one is by comparing this number with a special police database.
All right. We're just having a bit of trouble tracing your serial number off the window, yeah. It's not coming up on our database. Have you got the logbook for the caravan at all? No, okay. We can't quite trace this number. Yeah, it might be the 8 that's old. There's something, it doesn't feel right at the end here. The digits don't feel right. Probably feel it for yourself. Just very gently, rub your fingers over the top row.
The top one, yeah.
Gentle. Now go on to the bottom row. Tell me what feels different.
Oh.
Yeah, you see what we're
proud,
standing proud, which in some cases leads us to believe that these digits may have been altered.
Did you buy it from a dealership?
No, bought it private.
Bought it private.
Even though the numbers don't feel right or come up on the database, it doesn't mean the caravan is definitely stolen. That will depend on another number, one on a microchip hidden by its makers. Since 1998, every caravan in Britain has had a tamper-proof ID chip built into it.
What we're going to do, we're just going to carry out a scan of the caravan. There we go, boys. Right, 739.
739 at the end.
739. Right, let's call it. Yep. Yes.
Confirmed stolen from 2003.
Yeah, confirmed. Caravan's confirmed stolen.
Stolen from the driveway of the owner's home address, which was in Leicestershire.
Do I have a crime number, Andy?
Do you got a crime number there?
This is the worst part of Dave Smith's job.
Quite often it's more than just the caravan. Quite often it's sort of a second home, really. It's their savings or their inheritance. That's stolen.
Is it like the original number?
Yeah, in the original number. Yeah, it's in the original number. Unfortunately, it belongs to somebody else. I know you bought it, but your contract's with the person you gave your money to. Yeah. And the legal owner, if you like, will get the caravan back.
The man paid more than £6,000 for this caravan, which has become his home from home.
Did you get a receipt, handwritten receipt or anything? You wouldn't remember where you went to buy it?
I actually done a halfway with the guy.
Oh, that's the worst. Unfortunately, when they do the halfway meets, that's because purely they don't want you to know where. So they say, oh, you'll never find my house because it's difficult or whatever. They're just caught out. They look at the people and think he's been really helpful meeting us halfway, and it's always cash. They're parting with cash that they've drawn out the bank. And of course, when they eventually get stopped somewhere or the caravans are checked somewhere or they go to insure it, then it's too late. So they've lost their money, basically. They have a big problem.
To make matters worse, the cops are now going to tow the caravan away and return it to its previous owner or the insurance company which paid out for its loss.
Bought it in good faith. I'm just good at it. Looks like I've lost my caravan.
Unfortunately, if we identify something as stolen today, it will be recovered today. So it is awful when you're standing watching people empty the caravan out of all the personal belongings. Very upsetting for them, and we understand that.
A lot of people aren't going into Europe on holiday with the exchange rate and things like that. So they're buying a caravan to have family holidays for the next few years. They're very naive to caravanning. They really don't understand caravanning. They just know what they can afford. They look in the paper, they look on the internet. We can afford to buy that, so we'll go and buy it. It's the one in the corner over there.
And for others at the steam rally, the threat of further upset remains. The specialist team are still on the case.
See, the 5 had been made into a 9, see it?
Yeah.
But it reads as 3651, so...
Nice.
So, yeah. Yep. That number there, 651, comes up as stolen. So it's going to, you know...
We're going to have it recovered, unfortunately. No.
Apart from never handing money to a stranger in a lay-by, there are other things you can do to avoid falling foul of the caravan criminals.
When you're thinking of purchasing a second-hand caravan, you've got to be sure that the caravan that you're looking at is the caravan that it's supposed to be. All caravans from 1992 have the Chris markings on the windows and also etched into the chassis as well. Quite often these numbers are altered or removed. Obviously, if they have the logbook that has the correct number on it, you then need to carry out an HPI Chris check on the caravan to confirm the number isn't a stolen caravan or has outstanding finance on it. If you buy a caravan without identification numbers on the windows, with no documents, it could well be a stolen caravan that somebody is passing on.
99.9% of the caravans we probably recover are off innocent purchasers. They'll see things advertised in different local newspapers or even in magazines. They specialise in selling caravans and they'll go and buy them. They'll meet people in lay-bys, they'll meet people at motorway service stations, and they'll literally hand £10,000 over in a carry bag, which is the life savings, and say thank you very much and walk away. And it's not until we come knocking on the door or until they try to sell their caravan that it comes up that it's stolen.
Only 10% of stolen caravans are ever seen again. The equivalent figure for cars is 50%. So when the caravan criminals paid this man a visit in Northumberland and stole his home from home, one could reasonably expect never to see it again. But Jimmy Roper had a guardian angel, or at least a mate who is a microlight pilot and instructor, Steve Clarehew.
It was a pretty ordinary day at the airfield. We'd done a few trail flights. It was a nice, calm day. Weather was good, visibility was fantastic. And this guy turned up for his trail flight, which his family bought for him.
Nice to meet you. How's it going?
All the family were there taking photographs as we took off on a pretty routine little sortie. As we rotated and took off, I looked down to my left to the caravan site and I saw a transit van sitting at the entranceway. And as we climbed out, it very quickly drove in, reversed up to a caravan, clicked the caravan on and drove back out and onto the A1. This was all connected up and driven out within less than 60 seconds. And at that point I realised, hang on, that's getting nicked.
Not only was Clarehew watching a caravan getting nicked, he soon realised it was his best mate Jimmy's. And Jimmy was elsewhere, walking his dogs.
I climbed the aircraft up to a safe altitude. I've got Jimmy's telephone number in my phone memory. I rang his number and then I pushed the phone up the side of my helmet and Jimmy answered straight away. I said, Jimmy, is there any reason why someone in a transit van is just connected up to your caravan and are just about to join the A1?
Come on! I speeded up and headed for home.
Clarehew did more than tip Jimmy off. He also decided to follow the thieves.
Well, the passenger thought I was just making it up to make the flight more exciting and everything, but what I was explaining, there's Jimmy, the neighbour, running along with his dogs to get in his car. There's the transit van going down the A1. He kind of then started to believe what I was saying. He was thoroughly enjoying it.
On the ground in his car in heavy traffic, Jimmy was also following the thieves, but he wasn't enjoying it at all.
Because the traffic was like this, I couldn't catch up. So I was quite frustrated in a way that I couldn't catch a van and caravan, you know.
Just when it seemed the thieves were going to get away, they stopped.
The caravan turned off the A1 and I rang Jimmy back again and said it's just turned into a lay-by down by Jackson's garage. They seemed to have a bit check around the caravan, putting the electrics on and everything. And then he rejoined the A1 and headed south again. But Jimmy was still way, way behind them. The guy at the back was screaming, look at your neighbour, why doesn't he put his foot down? You know, tell him to hurry up and catch them and everything. He was excited as me and that we should see a result.
After after 20 minutes, Jimmy Roper got close enough to his caravan to get involved.
And you could just see the whole thing closing up. Jimmy came in from behind.
And I just got out and walked up and I says, look, that's my caravan, you know, you've stolen my caravan.
Oh, it was fantastic. We had a cheer in the aeroplane that, you know, that was it, job done sort of thing. It was good to know that we'd managed to get them caught.
As Steve Clairhue and his passenger headed for home, the police arrested the caravan thieves. At least 4,000 caravans are stolen in Britain every year. 1 in 4 is taken from what has become known as the Caravan Bermuda Triangle. An area surrounded by the M6, M42 and M1 has become a caravan theft hotspot.
They're stolen in the UK and exported all over, taken to France, Spain, Portugal and sold over there to unsuspecting people.
When the caravan thieves targeted retired couple Bob and Margaret Johnson and their dog Jackie in the Triangle, the theft became a harrowing ordeal. Their holiday home was stolen whilst they visited a friend nearby, leaving Jackie on guard. Inside.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know, I think everybody up the road could hear me. I just screamed, collapsed to the floor, because the first thing that came to my mind, my dog. My dog was in the caravan. And I was so scared.
The shock didn't stop Bob Johnson from thinking clearly or quickly. Within minutes of the theft, he was on the phone.
We realised that we had a tracker fitted on the caravan, so we stopped, made a phone call to them, and within the 2 minutes we was
talking to
them, they said, we know where it is now.
The caravan tracker system uses satellites, so you can run, but you can't hide.
You can actually see which roads they're going down if these things. As soon as Mr and Mrs Johnson rang, we're then continuing to track the vehicle. We contact the relevant police force and give them the location. We can actually follow it down the roads and tell them exactly where the vehicle is and where we think it will be going to.
Before the thieves managed to get where they were going to, the police had them in custody.
Probably within an hour to an hour and a half, the police had stopped the caravan, caught one of the people involved.
But they'd already broken in, hadn't they?
But they'd broken in and stolen quite a few of our personal items.
The most personal item, of course, was their dog, Jackie.
It was a dog handler walking across with the dog on a lead. As soon as the dog seen us, she went berserk. And the police said, can't we tell she's your dog?
It just makes me so angry. I can't explain it, really.
You think you are very safe, but these sort of thieves come prepared. They have all the tools of the trade. Without the tracker, we would never have got the dog or the caravan.
"200 miles to the south, PC Angus Nairn is still on a mission, trying to make truck drivers safer and their loads harder targets for criminals.
This is where at night time, when the trucks are parked up in lay-bys, you get somebody that's coming along, they just get themselves a knife and they just literally stick the knife in. You can see where they've gone along and cut it, and that's just so that they can peel that back, look inside and see if there's anything of value that's inside the trailer. The likes of this trailer's had it a couple of times, another one here, and they'll tend to slash it a couple of times all the way down until they find something. They've normally got somebody nearby in a small truck or a van. They'll then come in, park as close as they can to that particular trailer, and before you know it, 2 or 3 lads are handballing, all the boxes that are inside out into the transit van or the small truck, and they're gone. Matter of minutes.
Many lorry drivers believe that they are soft targets because the police are thin on the ground. The M25 is another truck crime hotspot.
You can drive around this M25 probably all day now and you might see one police car if you're lucky, and there's just not the resources now to keep truck crime under control.
Truck criminals are making around £250 million a year from the goods they steal. On the M25, they aren't just after some stuff from the back. They want the whole lorry.
You're driving along now, and in your mirror you'll see a car flashing you, waving at you to pull over. You think to yourself, well, what's he want? What's wrong? You can't see your tyres, you can't see your back door, so you think to yourself, I better pull over and check. You pull over, and that's how they're doing it now. It's basically pirates on the road.
Barry Tozer has been driving trucks for 25 years. The M25 is the road he uses every day.
Hijackers are now becoming more armed and more dangerous. And at the end of the day, the driver in that cab is not a security man, he's just a family man trying to do a job.
Doing the job is made more difficult, according to drivers like Barry Tozer, because there are very few safe places for trucks to stop.
We're in Clackett's Lane Motorway Services. It's one of the only motorway services south of London. So at 5 o'clock tonight, this can be chock-a-block full with lorries. There's absolutely no security. Anybody can drive in here, pick up what they want. As you can see, there's just nothing at all to stop anybody coming in.
Anybody coming in has to pay £25 if they want to stay the night. It's not only the cost that deters many from seeking even a half-safe haven like this. Sometimes there's just no room. This is where the unlucky ones end up having to park overnight.
Around the country, 60% of lorry drivers are ending up parking in lay-bys typical like this one. No security, no lighting, open to the elements. Any van pulling in behind a lorry can walk up and down the side here and take his pickings. You are completely vulnerable. Stood here, you can't see the road. If I'm a criminal trying to get in that vehicle, nobody can see me, and the driver is in there, he's got no chance whatsoever.
One of our biggest concerns is the fact that data is not necessarily coordinated. Truck crime can be treated as simply a car crime. The way that the different police forces capture the data varies, so we simply don't know exactly what the picture is, and that's a real handicap to tackling the problem.
Although there isn't any firm data to prove it, most truckers will tell you they feel most vulnerable at night time. When one of Britain's most experienced delivery drivers pulled over to take his mandatory rest break and zipped himself into his sleeping bag, he didn't think anyone else knew he had a load of alcohol on board.
I'd parked up in a lay-by, 1 o'clock sort of approximately in the morning. I was fast asleep. All of a sudden the window came in. Get out! And before I knew it, there was people in the cab restraining me. It's total confusion because I couldn't get out of my sleeping bag fast enough to try and stop them.
Malcolm Simmons wasn't prepared to give up his load without a fight. But when your attackers are armed with a cattle prod, you stand little chance.
It was absolutely phenomenal pain. And it wasn't just for a few seconds, it was quite a long time they were sort of holding it there. And I thought I was going to die.
When the prod didn't subdue Malcolm Simmons enough, the lorry jackers wrapped him in his sleeping bag and sat on him as he lay in his bunk.
He was a fairly hefty guy, obviously he was sat on me all the time, so I was totally at their mercy sort of thing, you know.
Simon's ordeal didn't end there. The criminals drove around for hours while they made arrangements to dispose of the truck and its load. And him.
I was listening from where I was going, tunnels, etc. You could tell with the speed of the vehicle, if it was a motorway or side road or things like that. The mobile phones was going, but I couldn't tell who it was. They didn't talk all that much, really.
After several hours, the jackers decided it was time to get rid of their hostage.
They decided to transfer me to a van, which drove around for another few hours. And then they dumped me out in the middle of nowhere. threw my phone away. I got no means of contacting my wife. So I went into a village.
Simmons was not only shocked, he was deeply traumatised.
It took me a year to get over it, basically, of sleepless nights, etc.
A year later, Malcolm Simmons finally plucked up enough courage to get behind the wheel again.
If I never went back to work, if I never drove a lorry again, I would never be the same again. So I thought, well, they're not going to win, I'm going to win, and I did.
Tales of horror from the trucking front line are not uncommon, and some of the biggest haulage companies in the country are investing heavily in technology and driver training to try and beat the criminals.
You know, drivers have to keep their eyes open to see potentially is anybody following you. If a car was sat behind you for 20, 30 miles, you'd sort of start to question that car and why is it there.
While the drivers pay more attention to what's going on around them, the truck companies keep an eye on them by installing satellite tracking technology which enables HQ to know where their trucks and loads are at any time. The system also has a panic button in the cab.
As soon as he presses the button, it's instant. It comes through to our planning screens, so we can see that the driver is in trouble. It's flashing there to say Michael has pressed the panic button, everybody can hear it, and it's a case then of just contacting the driver to make sure that everything's okay. If there was something happening, it would then go through to the police and we'd get everything in process. I think the knowledge that the vehicles are fitted with these panic alarms is a deterrent for a lot of people.
No one yet knows if the new emergency alert system will help cut lorry jackings and attacks. But the hauliers hope that it will make the thieves aware that their targets are no longer quite so soft. The targets that Britain's criminals are going after are becoming bigger by the day. A new breed of highway robber is stealing millions of pounds worth of farm and construction machinery. The biggest of the big stuff, which is usually sold abroad soon after it's been taken.
The cost of equipment is huge. Your average tractor, the list price starts at £70,000 and goes upwards to tens and tens of thousands of pounds. A combine harvester, probably £250,000 upwards. So the benefits to a criminal that's exporting this equipment are huge.
Over £50 million worth of agricultural and construction equipment was stolen in the UK last year. But this might be just the tip of a new criminal iceberg.
Plant theft is an issue that causes police concerns. We've been working with the industry, and it's very difficult to quantify. It's not only the theft of the machine, but it's the ongoing costs that it causes the industry, the construction industry and the farmers when their equipment's stolen. They have to hire in new equipment, the ongoing projects which are then delayed. So it can add up to a considerable amount of money.
So considerable that the Metropolitan Police Stolen Vehicle Unit in London now has a specialist section dealing with machinery crime, led by Detective Constable Ian Elliott.
It can affect members of the public in many ways, and they're trying to get the train in the morning and find that they can't get because of the delays to the underground network or the railway network, and that could be caused simply by a loss of a compressor.
Elliott and his squad have already begun to close in on those responsible for the thefts.
There's quite a small number of people actually stealing plant, but they are very, very prolific and they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to move this equipment, they know how to start it, drive it, and to act in a manner that isn't suspicious around a building site.
DC Elliott uses unconventional methods, employing a plant thief to catch a plant thief. Pete, who wants to remain anonymous, used to steal heavy machinery for a living. Now reformed, Pete helps DC Elliott learn the tricks of his past trade, including how to fit in.
Every site is a little bit different, I suppose. Obviously, if it's more muddy-wise, obviously you put rigger boots on. If it's a bit more of a tarmacking thing, you just have a different type of boots on or whatever, or a different jacket, or even obviously you just break into a van and then you have various jackets.
So would you go to the effect of marking up your van or your vehicle accordingly?
Yeah, you just put down plant hire, whatever on the side, and a dodgy phone number. Looks like something's just coming off hire and you're just coming to pick it up.
Picking it up is usually all too easy for the crooks. Unlike cars, which have their own unique keys, the makers of most heavy equipment have one key which fits all.
The keys he's walked in with are nothing to do with this vehicle whatsoever. They are for a different make, a different model. Unfortunately, most manufacturers use the same key. The problem is the same keys are in the hands of the criminals.
To show just how easy it is, DC Elliott and his reformed criminal are heading for one of the world's biggest construction sites, the East End of London, where Britain's 2012 Olympics is being built. Elliott and his colleagues believe that the Olympic building sites are going to provide soft targets and rich pickings for the organised criminal gangs. This is not a setup or a reconstruction.
Look, continue. Start up, drive off. Nice chain.
Nice chain means the user or owner of the equipment has made it easy for Pete by leaving it on the back.
The trailer's not even locked either. You start this up, turn it round, load it on the trailer, as a trailer and that way really. Makes an even better job really. Nick the little buckets down the end.
This one is a chain lever. It's got a crane hanging over the...
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy is how Pete likes it. But DC Elliott hopes this lesson will help make it more difficult in the long run for real thieves.
They drove into the yard unstopped, nobody bothered with them at all. It's important for us to know that that's how plant thieves operate. They will use that straight, almost effrontery of just walking in somewhere and having it out.
Having it out often involves criminals spiriting away massive machines. This 40-foot-long timber shredder is known as a bandit beastie, one of only 6 in Britain. It's worth £250,000, but no one batted an eyelid when thieves drove it away from a building site. Not only is this kind of machinery easy to steal, it's also virtually impossible to get back. As we know, nearly half of all cars stolen in the UK are recovered, but with plant, the tally is much lower.
The recovery rate with plant is very poor, unfortunately. It's less than 5%. So if you have a mini digger stolen, you've got a less than 5% chance of recovering it.
You ready? In the home counties, the police are also after the plant thieves. But here, DC Vince Wise of Hampshire's Serious and Organised Crime Unit is also doing something else. He's going abroad to get what has been stolen back.
The problem is not just to the construction industry, we're also seeing an increase in the agricultural market again, with agricultural tractors and machinery being stolen again, effectively to order to feed other parts of the world that again are themselves developing. So yes, where there is a need, there's a marketplace for the criminal to move in and make money.
Money was made when 2 brand new diggers were stolen from Liverpool and ended up in Poland.
These were both reported stolen together with 2 other similar machines from Merseyside. Combined value just touching under £500,000.
But this is nothing compared to what DC Wise has locked up inside Hampshire's secret police stolen property warehouse. The proceeds of 1 crime and 1 gang.
This particular investigation actually centred around 62 of these machines. This is only a small fraction of those machines that were recovered, but these operations are happening all the time.
These equipment thieves were more specialised than most. They stole only telescopic handlers, much sought after on construction sites. Each is worth £30,000. Total value of this haul? Almost £2 million. DC Wise & Co. recovered them from across Europe and as far afield as Dubai and Australia.
The logistics of even recovering these and bringing them to their secure premises was a nightmare enough. So you can imagine from a criminal's point of view, the organisation and orchestrating the theft of these machines is certainly something that's taken a lot of planning. So again, it goes to show you when people ask, is the theft of plant serious and organised? Then quite clearly the answer is yes.
the streets of London, the reformed plant thief Pete has spotted another potential soft target. But this time, he's not so sure.
It's in bright sort of red with green, and it's in corporate colours. If I nick it, I've then got to go and paint it yellow. If I drive along the back of my lorry, people might wonder why I'm driving along, and if I do get stopped, I'll try and explain. Not a normal Mickey Mouse story, and the police don't got no way of checking. With this they can, so it's not really worth touching. All the data tagging in all the chassis members and hidden places and that, would be no good to me, really.
The no good to me data tagging is part of the latest security and registration scheme for heavy plant, launched a few years ago to try and make it harder for the thieves.
This is its unique number plate. This enables any officer and any sort of person in the trade to identify the bit of kit 24 hours a day, really. Behind this sticker is actually a RIFID chip, which is a unique coded chip that you would for your cat and dog, really. It's a very similar sort of thing, which proves that this sticker is a genuine, unique sticker. It's also got other radio frequency ID tags, similar to the tags behind this, hidden elsewhere on the machine. So if the thief has bothered to remove this, he won't remove the other markings. It's impossible, he'd never find them all. So should Pete or his friends steal it, we've got a 24/7 response to it and say, well, actually, this doesn't belong to you and you're under arrest.
In the south of England, the veteran truck driver Barry Tozer is continuing his campaign to make the roads safer places for him and his 90,000 colleagues. Barry practices what PC Nairn preaches and always checks his truck before bedtime.
I've checked it tonight the best I can now. It's a case of in the morning, getting up, the first thing you do is have a look around, because you never know, they might have just slashed the curtain. You have to make sure your fuel's still there, so.
But Barry also has other ways of trying to outsmart the crooks. He's developed an internet forum for truckers dedicated to fighting crime, truckersworld.com. He and his driver mates connect by Wi-Fi.
Every driver is now sat in these little chairs. He's got his telly on, he's got his laptop on, he's got watching the DVD, because there is no communication amongst us, and the idea of these forums is to try and bring that unity back into the drivers.
Despite the unity, Barry Tozer knows the trucking industry is a long way from converting its soft targets into hard ones.
You can check your doors are shut, your windows are shut, your sunroof is shut, and that's basically all you can do. There are new lock systems coming out and everything else, but if they want to get into this lorry, they're going to get in.
The truck criminals aren't only threatening the livelihoods of drivers like Barry, they're also stopping the next generation of drivers from joining the profession. Drivers who must find £2,000 just to qualify.
There is going to be no haulage industry left. There's no new blood coming into the industry because there's nothing to attract a lorry driver now. What youngster is going to pay £2,000 to come out and be attacked at night in a lay-by?
As night falls, the trucker's friend, PC Nairn, is back on the M5. He's also part of the campaign to cut the theft of farm and construction equipment and is an expert at spotting stolen or dodgy trailers which ply the motorways, moving plant from A to B.
There's a Land Rover said towing a tandem axle Ivor Williams trailer. There's no number plate shown in the reverse of the trailer. So we're going to give it a stop, speak to the driver. Hey driver.
How you doing?
Who's the trailer?
Sorry?
Who did the trailer belong to?
The boss.
The boss. Where's your number plate for it?
I've just had a problem with it. The light's not working this side.
Yeah.
It's totally gone out.
You know where you put a number plate on it then?
I could write one on it.
If you had a pen, it'd be handy.
Tonight, PC Nairn's working with Nick Nail, a stolen vehicle examiner who specialises in road trailers. He's onto something.
Welded over the laser code. Stolen. Yeah. Stolen. That's not the correct font.
An incorrect font could mean a journey to the police pound, where the trailer can be examined more thoroughly.
The likes of this trailer we've got just now, it's what we call an Ivor Williams trailer. It's they're one of the most common trailers that you'll see on the road because they're good, strong trailers, but at the same time, they're highly sought after amongst criminals. In this case, identification's been deliberately altered, so therefore we can suspect it to be stolen.
Examiner Mail is becoming convinced that they do have a stolen on their hands.
The font's been done properly on a jig, but that's not what the manufacturer would do, so it's not a good one, I'm afraid.
And that's not the only thing that's wrong.
Somebody buying. As you can see, this has been welded over. It's made to look okay because it's holding a coupling, but unfortunately under there is a number as well.
I mean, you wouldn't weld a plate on there, just put a plug in it. So the plate's there for a reason.
No, I mean, I'll put, as I said,
yeah, but the plate's also a false plate. It's not a genuine Ivor Williams plate.
Right.
So it's a false plate with a number that's been hidden over. And normally the reason is that people hide the identity to try and prevent us from finding out that it's a stolen trailer.
Yeah.
The driver's an innocent person caught up in someone else's crime. It will take PC Nairn and Examiner Mail time to establish who this trailer really belongs to. For now, the bemused driver will have to return home empty-handed. For PC Nairn, it's back to his motorway crusade. At the same time as going after stolen equipment and trucks, he's determined to crack down on drivers who break the law or refuse to tell him the truth.
You get a sixth sense that somebody's telling you lies, and you can usually see with the way they look at you, the way they start trembling, their hands shake, and they start telling you different answers. You ask them once or twice and you get 2 or 3 different answers.
PC Nairn's sixth sense is already at work. There's something about the truck in front he doesn't like.
Get him stopped shortly.
As usual, he starts with the tachograph.
All right, young man, where are you heading to?
Stockport.
Yeah?
Stockport.
Okay, quick check of your charts, please. Good man, the one that's in just now as well, please. You don't? Why no?
There's something wrong with the tacho.
Right. Well, if you've taken your tachograph out, should you then have been having a rest?
Aye.
Yeah, so how can you go in at 2 o'clock and come back out at 4 if you're supposed to be having a rest? Rest means rest, you don't go anywhere. I could be wrong, but I could be right. What do you think? Now I know there's something wrong with this truck because of you, okay? And I'll say that to you because I'm literally 100% positive there's a fault in this truck that you've caused, simple as that. So what have you done to stop that from working? Okay. Why?
They are taking big risks. They do a lot of hours and they'll continue to drive by falsifying charts, and they're driving then in excess of the 15 hours that they're entitled to drive, and some of them we stop could be in excess of 20, 24 hours driving. He only needs to close his eyes for a couple of seconds and he's travelled a few hundred metres, and he could be over the top of a family car with 2 or 3 people on board, and before you know it, you've got a fatal in your hands.
That fuse there, that completes the circuit. He's obviously taken it out in order to stop the tachograph from working. Without the fuse in it, the truck is actually showing a rest period, so the truck technically is not moving according to the tachograph. It's a good fine that they get, and a disqualification for about a year. So it's sending out the message to to other drivers that if they're going to try this and run illegally, put everybody else's life in danger, then they're going to pay the consequences.
The consequences are something PC Nairn thinks about a lot.
The bosses can't force them to work illegally. It's against the law. But if the drivers are daft enough to say, yep, I'll do that, I'll run illegally, I'll pull the fuse, or I'll do whatever, then he's got to face the consequences. Now goes to custody and he'll be interviewed. It'll be a quick interview because he's already admitted to what he's done. was asked to produce his tachograph chart for his current journey, which he was unable to do so because he said his tachograph wasn't working. He's then admitted to pulling the fuse out, stopping the tachograph from working.
Do you want anybody informing that you're here?
Just do you want a solicitor?
Great.
I don't know. I've never been arrested before.
Soft targets aren't always big or on the move. For many years, Britain's shops faced a barrage of attacks from robbers who used cars to outwit the cops by ram raiding. In and out, fast. But simple security measures taken by most stores all but stamped out the crime. So those who specialise in going after vulnerable targets have found other ways of hitting their victims. Motorbikes. 11 a.m, Knightsbridge, central London. Alalay Mozaffarian, the daughter of the owner of an upmarket jewellers, helps set out the gems display for the day. The shop is covered by CCTV, inside and out.
I was just preparing some of the paperwork, and the staff, they were setting the window. It usually takes about an hour in the morning to set up.
Three motorbikes carrying 6 men mount the pavement. One is armed with a sledgehammer.
I just heard my mum scream, motorcycles roaring up, and a big bump on the door, and I thought, oh my God.
While the robbers smash their way in, the riders rev their engines to intimidate those inside and out.
They tried to scare us. Even from the bathroom, I could hear the motorcycles, and it was very frightening. It's like they were terrorists, or they were, they were going to throw a bomb on us. It was that scary.
Alalay's fear for her own safety is overcome by concern for her mother and staff, and she moves towards the thieves.
I tried to go further because I didn't want them to come in further, because I was scared if they were going to smash the shop, they would come all the way in. That's what frightened me most. Other staff tried to hold me back as well while he was pressing the panic button. I was scared for our lives. I mean, the jewellery didn't matter anymore. It was our lives. I was scared for the staff and my mother.
After less than 40 seconds inside, the men grab one last handful of jewels and are gone. Not a policeman in sight.
They took one expensive necklace, that was heart-shaped diamond necklace, that was about £500,000, and they took a lot of rings and other pieces of jewellery. So it was a lot of, altogether maybe it will add up to about £1 million of jewellery, yeah.
The Knightsbridge night bandits have not yet been caught. No hot pursuit was possible.
You are away within seconds, with virtually a guaranteed escape. It's almost impossible to get after them, especially in your built-up town centre areas, because they're simply going straight through traffic, like a hot knife through butter. The police will not pursue you when you're on a moped or a motorcycle, because the policies just don't allow it.
Even though they haven't been able to chase, the police have managed to catch some of those responsible for what many criminologists believe is a case of thieves simply moving with the times.
What you see is a kind of evolution of offending behaviour in response to the environment in which offenders find themselves. If you're going to be an armed robber in central London and go into a jeweller's or something and do an armed robbery, you're not going to go in a car. You'd be bananas.
21st century two-wheel terrors have become so successful and confident that the raids even appear on YouTube. Efforts have moved on from targeting jewellers to designer clothes. When they find a soft target, they keep coming back. This menswear shop in North London has been hit 9 times in the last 6 years.
As soon as you get that call, as soon as you wake up and there's that
telephone ringing and you know what's happened because it's so many times. It's a dread. You pick it up, they go, "Hello, your shop's been burgled."
Gary Vanger has no idea whether the criminals on bikes are the same gang, but they only ever smash and grab one way.
They're always doing the same thing. They come up on bikes. There's normally 2 or 3 riders and possibly 2 people on the backs. They come in with a sledgehammer, hammer the door down, smash the grills. Once they're in, fill up large laundry bags, and they make up with as much goods as they can, as quick as they can.
It's not just the loss of the clothes that cost Mr. Vanger dear, it's the attack itself.
Okay, here I can show you some pictures on my computer of the damage that they actually have done. Here's like one where the door's smashed, glass everywhere. Sometimes the damage is more than the goods, but to them, they don't care. It's nothing to them.
But it's becoming something far too costly for Gary Vanger. As fast as he replaces his stolen stock, the bikers return to rob him again.
I filled up the next day and they came back 2 days later. So that was twice in 1 week. There's nothing stopping them doing it again and again and again.
When the 2-wheeled raid started, they were at night. But the robbers have grown in confidence. The most recent have been in broad daylight.
They came back in the daytime, which was much more frightening. 2 bikers came in, pushed my staff back against the shelves, threatened them with a knife, and then filled up 2 laundry bags, sped off, and they were gone. I mean, the whole thing was maybe 20 seconds. They're hooded, they're gloved up, they wear biker's gear, they go on bikes, and the reason they use the bikes is because as they go off road, they can't be chased by the police. They know the response times. They know how to do these crimes. They know how to get away with them.
The raids have cost Gary Vanger £80,000 and his business is in danger of going under. As the cops manage to gain some success in their battle with the 2-wheeled criminals, there are those who believe that for most soft targets, things are going to get worse before they get better.
The reality is I don't think that the public are fully on board with just what the extent of motorcycle-enabled robbery is.
The bike robbers who smashed their way into the Knightsbridge jewellers to steal £1 million are still at large, as are those who took the designer clothes from North London. The suspicious trailer pulled over by PC Angus Nairn was confirmed as stolen. The man towing it had no idea. The man who stole the blue Corsa, who was arrested by PC Nairn outside a supermarket, was also convicted of possessing a bladed article in a public place. The lorry driver, caught tampering with his tachograph, was fined £480. And the man who took the Caravan belonging to Margaret and Bob Johnson, which had their dog Jackie inside, got 9 months in jail for stealing the transit van he used to drive it away with.